Disappointed, dejected, and wanted to kind of have a new start. So he headed out to California. When he came to California, he only had $40 in his pocket, and he had some art supplies and basically a suitcase. And he had relatives out here, so his plan was to live with his uncle. He was on Kingswell Street. He lived, the place where he lived with his uncle, him and his brother Roy. So that was their first place that they landed when they came to LA. And they traveled to Los Angeles via rail. And as we go along in the tour, we'll see some reference to that. But Oswald is rabbit skin. And one thing that Walt did was that throughout his experiences, he drew from his experiences characters and places. Like Disneyland is Marceline, California Adventure, although he wasn't around, it was the same thing. It's a memory of Walt's history. Oswald was a typical gas station that you would see in the 20s around the Los Feliz or Glendale area. And it's not based on a specific one, but I'm sure you recognize the gas pumps and the Packard vehicle that's here. It doesn't really have, the Packard doesn't have any real significance, although it's a car that was around during that time period. And Walt did own Packards. I don't know if he owned that specific model, but that was a vehicle that fit in with our story. The locker building has more of a deco feel. You can see the long, bright colors, the blues, the grays, and that was just a common theme during this time period, the 20s. Deco was very big, as you can see by pieces of architecture. And in the LA area and the mid-Wilshire area, it was very prevalent. The department stores of the day, Desmond's, Bullock's, were all in that style. And as we moved towards Elias and Company, adopts the Art Deco feel. And when we go under the bridge, you can see a delineation that is clear from the early 1920s if we move into the 30s. So as you get closer to Carthay Circle, that's the idea that you go from 1920 to the late 20s into the 30s. In 1937 is when Snow White opened. And that's, I believe, 15 years after, almost 15 years after Walt arrived here in Los Angeles. So it really only took him about 15 years to kind of establish himself as a producer of these animated films. He started out with the short films, and we'll see some of the characters that are referenced in the architecture and the names as well. The vehicles that are on the red car train, there's actually two different trains. There's 717 and I think a 623 car. And both of those they're slightly different, and the railway is based on the railway that Henry Huntington established for the LA area. Around Southern California, you could catch a red car to Westwood or the mid-Wilshire area or Pasadena. So that's kind of what the red car is based on. And in those days, the red car would run on overhead cabling, which was electrified. Today, this overhead cabling is not really functional. It's just more of a, we do it as a show element where the operator gets off and hooks on the hook when they turn around. That's something that they would normally do in the 20s and 30s when they're operating that, because that was their electricity for the vehicle itself. On our red cars, although electric, we operate them on a battery system now that charges as we go along. So it's a little bit safer for the people that are here, and everything's self-contained in the vehicle, so that it makes it easier for us to maintain. And also, I mentioned that the newsies ride on the red car and perform as the red car moves along and stops at strategic locations so that guests can see them perform. This facade right here is it's Spanish colonial revival, and this location is called Mortimer's, and it speaks to the way that you would see a fruit market in Walt's time when he arrived here in California, where you can pick up your fresh fruit, your canned goods, or a soda pop possibly. And Mortimer's is, does anyone know who Mortimer is? What's the significance of it? Right, yeah, so Mortimer is Mickey Mouse's first name that Walt came up with. He came up with a name and he ran it by his wife, and his wife's like, oh, that's a little bit too formal. I don't think people will click with it. So he came up with kind of a more fun name, Mickey, and now the rest is history. Mickey Mouse. There you go. And if you look carefully up here on the facade, on these molds that are here, you can see the mice in the architecture. And those are kind of hidden Mickeys. Not really Mickey Mouse, but they're mice. And the M up there for Mortimer. So that's a cool little detail if you look, and even in here with the cornucopia, you can see the mice up there. So as you look up around the walls, you can see all the different merchandise that you would typically see in a 5 and dime shop. It's like a place where you can go and get anything that you need. And although you're in a theme park, there's a lot of different things you can get here: hats, clothing, souvenirs. We tried to stick with the same theme, and as we move into the other shops, it's more department store based. So and when you transition to different areas of a department store, they normally have like a men's department, women's department, or a kitchen department. So we'll kind of walk that way, and then we'll walk outside, and we can I'll talk about some of the other architecture that we see. But this shop's probably one of my most favorite. I think the woodwork and the displays that you see up above are very close to what you would have seen normally in this time period. And then I mentioned earlier that the transition between the 20s to the 30s. And as you can see, as we get on this side of the Hydrant Bridge, everything changes to Art Deco. It's more modern. A lot of our finishes we had duplicated based off of reference that we had from various time periods. And these veneers here, normally they would be like marble. I think these are actually not really marble, but they may be like plastic, but they look very much like marble. If any of you are familiar with the Pasadena area, in Pasadena at the end of the 110 freeway, or the Arroyo, is a power plant. And at that power plant, in front of the power plant, there's a fountain that is it's very similar to this. So that's what we drew our inspiration from, was that fountain of the power plant.
Alright, so I actually am not sure who you guys are, but welcome to 1901. This is a private lounge for our Club 33 members. Is everybody familiar with what Club 33 is? Perfect. So, as of 2 years ago, June 15th, when they opened up this building, they wanted to provide the Club 33 members with an actual lounge to come to. Club 33 itself is just a restaurant. There is no place for them just to go get a drink, just enjoy the moment, sit down, get away from the park elements. So because of that, they created 1901. This itself is not a restaurant, it is purely a lounge. We don't serve actual meals here other than appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, and of course drinks, but they do have their own private bar. So now they have a place where they can come in. They are greeted by myself or one of our fellow coordinators with Club 33 member services, and we could do full itinerary planning for them, arrange reserve viewings for them, dining reservations, VIP tours, their allotment tickets. So it's just a place for them to get away and then take care of business if they need to. A lot of people use this as a place to do their own personal business. A lot of times they just want to have a place to sit down and get an appetizer or a drink. So that's really nice. Of course, outside, you have Buena Vista Street. Really is portraying what Walt Disney would have seen when he arrived in Los Angeles in the early 20s. Do you guys know what the significance of Carthay is? Yeah, I know you guys just took the tour next door, so you should have a concept of what Carthay is. We kind of carried that feeling into 1901 as well. All the portraits and pictures you see in here really showcase Walt Disney as a young man. We have details of what all those pictures mean. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. But you're not going to see anything representing Walt Disney in his later years when he created Disneyland, because we really wanted to pay tribute to the younger man who was just arriving in Los Angeles with a dream. Of course, the early Hyperion Studios, the early Walt Disney Brothers Studios, you'll see a lot of those portraits and pictures in here. A nice thing that the club members do have, of course, is a private bar in here. They have a private bartender. They have private restrooms they can use, which I kid you not are the cleanest ones in the entire resort. And of course, they have a place to charge their phones as well. And they have us, coordinators for member services. So feel free to come in. There's a couple of key things I do like to point out. As you're walking past this wall, I call it the magic portal into Walt Disney itself. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but pay attention to it because you might catch a glimpse of Walt Disney walking past. It's a shadow image of him. I call it his ghost. I don't know when he's going to appear. But very similar to next door, we do have items from actually he's about to You know, we actually don't have a waiting list per se. It doesn't exist. We got through it. We have what's called an entranceway. We won't be taking any members probably for the next 6 months due to the massive refurbishments and expansion projects that are going on over at the restaurant across the way. So I can't tell you how long we use. Well, they just don't know where they're going.
Before the trophy was closed. It's like you have to pay for that. Okay. You could go to sleep in that. Oh, what do you have? Oh, it's just super comfortable.
Look at the table right there.
Yeah, that looks like
right here.